what we're showing, this is footage, standard footage across the animal agriculture industry.
Okay.
And what a lot of people don't see and don't know that happens, that's because it's behind closed doors, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about humans exploiting other animals?
To be honest with you, I don't know enough.
Okay, fair. That's a fair point.
It's
a fair point.
I don't know enough to make a decision.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fair point for sure. Do you believe that animals deserve respect?
I believe that every living creature deserves a little bit of respect.
Agreed.
Obviously, like there's predators and prey, and like that's a thing. But,
Sure.
Like I think like if you're gonna kill an animal, eat it, and don't like torture it. You know
So
what I mean?
right.
You know?
So we both agree that animals deserve respect, right? And so you're right. There are predators and prey, and the good news is that a lot of people see humans as predators, right, and this as prey. Okay. The thing is, though, is that this was what happens behind the closed doors that nobody sees, and that we have lots of other choices. Okay. So if we both agree that animals deserve respect, right, and we both agree that, and you said that you're not totally sure on the exploitation thing, right? So exploitation is using another being for your benefit instead of theirs. Okay. So have you heard of the word being vegan or veganism?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the definition is? Not a quiz, by the way.
The loose definition is essentially you're not eating any animal byproducts.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people think it's a diet where you don't eat meat, milk, eggs, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Right.
you're also not using anything animal byproduct. Right?
Yeah. Right on. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people don't know that part.
Yeah.
So
Like
yeah.
there's vegan soaps and shit.
Yep.
Like there's everything.
Yep. Exactly. So a lot of people don't know that. I think it's just a diet,
Yep.
right? So it's an ethical stance that humans should live without exploiting other animals. Okay. So we don't need to eat meat, milk, and eggs to be healthy and fit and strong and live a good life, right? We don't need to go to zoos or aquariums, wear leather, fur, wool, silk. We have other choices, right? You mentioned predator prey. A lion needs to kill a zebra or it will starve and die. You and I can make a different option when we go to the grocery store, right? So we have those choices, and we're not the predator in the wild, right? And you would agree with that, right? For sure, right? So with that in mind, and knowing that if we buy meat, milk, and eggs, right? If we go to the store and we tap our card and we say, okay, I'm gonna buy chicken, I'm gonna buy beef, right? Every time we tap that card, we're saying that this is okay for it to happen, right? And this is standard practice, by the way, across multiple industries, across multiple countries, okay? So this is standard practice. You mentioned if it's done like in a good way or a nice way. So a lot of people think, well, if it's done humanely or if it's done, quote, respectfully or ethically, that seems to be okay. And I used to think the same thing, right? So I would buy the grass-fed beef or the cage-free eggs because I thought I was doing the right thing, right? But then we have to ask ourselves, why are we doing that? Why do we want to buy the, quote, nicer version of it? Why do we want to do that? Because we recognize that it's the animal is a living sentient being that has its own reasons for living, right? Okay, so if we don't have to do that, right, then why would we? What would be more humane? Killing them, quote, nicely, or not killing them at all?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Right? Not killing them at all. Right? Would be the ethical, logical conclusion of that. So with that in mind, is there anything that you feel that would stop you personally from being vegan?
I don't know. That's a tricky question for me. I'm at a time in my life right now where my health has been declining.
Okay.
So I've already been considering like making changes.
Okay. Sure.
One of those things was like, because I don't want to eliminate animal protein completely.
Why is that?
Right?
Again, I'm not judging you, by the way. It's a conversation.
No. I just, I don't know. I've also never gone without it.
Okay. Good.
Right? I've never
Fair
gone
point.
without it.
Fair point.
So it's one of those things that makes me a little nervous. Like same thing with like, I have a hard time eliminating soda just because I'm so used to drinking soda.
Right. You're used to it, right?
Exactly. I'm so used to having it.
And so you probably always had this, right? So I'm 51. I went vegan at 47, okay? And so up until that point, it was all normal for me too, right? And so when I went vegan, the day I went vegan, I was gonna make steak for dinner, okay? Opened a package of steak. And I wasn't watching any documentaries, I wasn't following anything on Instagram that was vegan or anything like that. So there wasn't even an outside influence, right? I just all of a sudden thought to myself, everything that had to have happened for that steak to end up there. And I didn't want to be part of that, right? I believe animals deserve respect. And so I said to myself, all right, I'm done. I'm not gonna fund this anymore. So the next question is, okay, what am I gonna eat, right? And so it's just a learning curve, and it's going, okay, so then what am I going to eat? And we're used to it, right? Before I was vegan, my house was the one that you could smell the barbecue on the weekends, and I was super,
That's us right now.
Right, exactly, right? Yeah, absolutely. No, I was there too, right? Smoked pork butt for 12 hours, did the whole deal, right? And after I went vegan, I went, okay, I don't want to be part of this anymore because I don't want to be the reason this happens. So I thought, okay, so what will that do to my health? I didn't know, right? So I said, well, we're going to find out. And the great thing was, nothing bad happened at all, right?
Well, it's like, didn't Schwarzenegger go vegan too, right?
Yeah, he's not fully vegan.
Vegetarian or something?
Yeah, but he's definitely a proponent of that you don't eat as much meat as everyone
I
thinks
saw there's like
they
a
do.
new documentary on that, like just like basically like bodybuilders and stuff like that. They went.
Oh, there's a ton of them. There's a ton of bodybuilders. Yeah, people go, oh, you need protein to, right? I can sit here and show you pictures and go, him, her, him.
Yeah, because
right?
there's still plant protein.
Exactly. So you can get all the protein you need from plants. You get all the nutrients you need from plants. You get everything. And honestly, it's not that hard. Would you trade places with any of the animals on that screen?
Oh no, I've been in a situation where you're kind of like you got nowhere to go, nowhere to do anything. You're helpless. I've been there.
And
so I'm like, yeah.
So you can resonate, right, with that, right? I feel you on that for sure. So if you can resonate with that, and you can have that empathy and put yourself in their position, and you wouldn't trade places with them, then why would we do that to them?
That's true.
When we can get everything we need, like you agreed, that we can get our protein from plants, we get our minerals, our nutrients, we get everything we need. And it's not just me saying that, like you shouldn't just take my word for it, but all the science,
that's why I wanted to ask the question.
Yeah, they all agree that you can get everything you need without having to do this. So then if you can get everything you need to lead healthy, strong life, and most important thing, animals don't have to be exploited. So then, with considering that, is there anything that would stop you feel that would stop you from going vegan?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is the understanding the options. Like that's understanding like actually what's available is a big thing.
Sure, right? It's easy to say, okay, I'm not going to exploit animals anymore. And you go home tonight and you say, now what am I eating for dinner?
Because then like, I'm so trained to be like, all right, like chicken and rice is a healthy meal, whatever.
Yep, I use the same way.
Yeah. So like, I'm like over here like thinking like, oh, you know what else would I eat?
Right. I'm going to give you a resource card.
Understand what else to eat.
Right. And I was the same way. I was like, okay, well now as I eat like
oh, am I gonna eat lettuce?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. You're like,
I'm not trying to sound ignorant.
No. It's that's a valid point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, so then I get it all the time. So do you just eat salads? No, actually, I don't eat salad that often, to be honest. And I'm the weird one that actually liked salads before I went vegan. But anyway, it's aside from the point. I don't even eat them that much, right? So no, you don't just have to eat vegetables or just eat lettuce. I'm going to give you a card that has some resources, free resources about what to eat. And just like you've learned other things in your life, right? I'm sure you've gone through learning curves of other things, right?
And it's all about experimentation too.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying different things and being open to actually like doing shit like that.
Exactly. And remembering that if you think to yourself, oh man, this is hard, I'm not sure what to eat, think who has it harder, you figuring out something to eat, or them being in a vulnerable, helpless position with no voice to speak up for themselves.
Sure.
Right? They obviously have it much harder. Yeah, after I went vegan, I ate like beans and rice for like a week because I wasn't sure what else to eat, and now that's not how I live. I don't eat beans and rice all the time.
He wanted to go vegan, and he tells me all the time that like he feels better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He feels better, his body moves better.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yep.
Like especially with, I already have problems with like inflammation in my joints and stuff.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's another thing, like.
Yeah. A lot of people, we're all about the animal rights side of it and the ethical implications for the animals. There's absolutely the health side of it as well. And multiple studies on the benefits to the health, multiple anecdotal of people feeling better, right? For a multitude of different reasons. Yeah, for sure. So from this day forward, how many animals should be exploited for you? 0 or more than 0?
So honestly, like when you see graphic things like this, it's hard to really see that and be like, yeah, I support that. It's a very difficult thing. But like, there's a lot of animals that help a lot of people just from doing minimal work. Like, for example, horses. Like, do horses really want to have a person on their back every day forever? No. But
no, they don't.
They don't, right? They
don't.
They help a lot of people do a lot of different things like grow crops and things like that. Like, which there's machines that can do that, but those machines are hurting the environment just as much as anything else.
But I'm assuming you don't. I'm assuming that you don't have a farm.
So my mom actually does.
Okay, I was gonna say there's got to be somewhere in there because the way you said that, I'm like, okay, well, you probably have someone in your family that. Okay, right.
But she doesn't. She doesn't like farm animals. Like,
Yeah. So
she has chickens and she eats the eggs and stuff like that, but she doesn't like eat her own animals. She mostly has pets.
Okay.
She treats them all as pets.
As pets, yeah.
She doesn't eat them. She doesn't do anything like that. Like.
Right on.
My mom was. She wanted to be a vet.
Oh, okay.
And so now she kind of like takes in other people's animals that are sick and like nurses them back to health.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that.
Good for her, taking care of them. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, so, there are things we can think of that can maybe think, okay, well, I'm not sure if I should do this because of this other situation over here.
Yeah.
But you have to think through, okay, but you today and you tomorrow, what can you personally do, right? You can't control if people use horses in the fields.
It's a concept like if everybody plants a tree,
right,
that we'll have a new forest grown.
100%. Exactly. You get it. You totally get it, right? Yeah. So
changes now will do much larger.
100%. 100%. Right. I can't control if someone uses a horse to grow crops on a field, right? But I can control what I buy at the store tomorrow when I go grocery shopping, right? And so I'm going to control those personal choices that I have.
And I think that for me, for sure, that's the options. Understanding the options would be like the eye opener.
Right. So let me give you this card. This is where it's going to take you to that level. There's a QR code on there. I'm going to show you on my phone where it goes to. Okay, so it's going to go to this link tree right here.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll show you a few different resources, a ton of stuff, but I'll show you just a couple here and you can look through it. So this is a fantastic speech, every argument against veganism. So when people say, oh, but what about whatever, he goes through every single one and gives very rational, good reasons to go vegan.
Okay.
The best speech you'll ever hear, I highly recommend everyone watch this. People go vegan literally after watching this because it just makes so much sense. And you're like, man, all I literally have to do is make, it's eye-opener. I just make other choices. That's all I do, right? These are some really good documentaries to watch. You're interested in the health side of it. Game Changers is a fantastic documentary. It talks about athletes and the health implications of a vegan diet and like that. So that's a really good one for that. Challenge 22 is a 22-day challenge that totally free online that helps you transition to eating an animal-free diet and being vegan. Great support on that. Happy Cow, this is a website and an app. You can go anywhere in the world and plug in where you are, and it'll give you a list of all the vegan options in your area. Really useful. Nutrition Facts, killer website that has a ton of every nutrition thing you could possibly want on there. It's a doctor that runs it, and he actually donates like all his proceeds to charity that he gets from his books, and the website's free.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll let you go look through the rest. But studies, 300 health studies, so all peer-reviewed health studies, and then all the way down on there.
Perfect.
Okay. So check that out, and like I said, the easiest thing to do is to think about, always put yourself in the position of the animal, right? And then know that you're no longer exploiting the animal. You're right. Like, it's easy to see this and go, oh man, I don't want to do this. And then when you go to the store, it's easy to forget that you saw this, right? But if you keep this in the
especially when it's always super convenient, it's like right there.
Right.
Like, all right, cool.
Right, exactly. Right. But then once you get used to learning something new, then like when I go to the store, I don't think about, oh man, what vegan food am I going to buy?
Right.
I just go grocery shopping, right? Because
now it's become a lifestyle.
It's become a lifestyle, right? So I don't have to think about it. It's just
a different lifestyle.
It's just what I do. Exactly. And then I'm no longer the reason that happens. And you said you're also interested in the health benefits. Then you'll reap those health benefits too.
What was your name again, sir?
Andrew.
Richard. Nice
Pleasure
to meet
meeting you.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good one.
Appreciate you.